Breaking news now, the Israeli military confirms missiles have been launched from Iran to Israel. It comes after a senior administration official warned earlier today that Iran was preparing a, quote, imminent attack on Israel. That official warning that there would be severe consequences should that happen. It comes just hours after the military began what it said were limited ground operations against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The White House National Security Council says that the operations are within Israel's right to self-defense. Joining us now is the Hill staff writer and defense reporter Brad Dress. So, Brad, the Israeli military says Iran has launched missiles towards Israel. What's the latest? What do we know?
Yeah, so this is all happening in real time. There's a lot that we don't really know at the moment, but we do know reports indicate Iran has fired some 250 missiles toward Israel. Both the U.S. and Israel have activated their defenses, and they're actively working to shoot these missiles down and protect Israel. So we're still learning a lot. It's happening as we speak. But, air raid sirens are sounding across Israel. Israel has told people to head to bomb shelters. So this comes after, as you mentioned, Israel launched its ground invasion into Lebanon. And it's important to note that Hezbollah is Iran's star proxy. Um, so they likely saw Israel launching, a major attack against Hezbollah as a threat um, to their sort of regime of proxies in the Middle East.
Yeah, as you said, definitely a developing story. And the U.S. recently warned an attack on Israel was imminent and that the U.S. military was helping Israel prepare for defense. So how is the White House responding to this? Should we expect to see any retribution? And if so, what would that look like?
Yeah, the U.S. has a lot of military assets in the region. They've had them there for months as we've seen this war in Gaza sort of escalates into this wider conflict over time since October 7th, which is almost a year ago now. So they position a lot of assets there. They have aircraft carrier strike group, additional fighter jets. On Monday, they announced more troops were heading to the region. So they're actively working to ensure that they can protect Israel, just as they did in April when Iran launched a major drone and missile attack, some 300 drones and missiles toward Israel. And almost all of those were actually taken out because of the U.S. and allied defense network. So Biden has actually, from what I understand, reports indicate he's already met with national security advisors and he's actively monitoring this situation. Now, as far as how Israel is going to respond, reports indicate Israel already wants to respond. They've responded to Iranian attacks in the past. As far as what that will look like, it's still too early to tell, but we do know that Israel has proven that it has vast capabilities to penetrate Iranian intelligence networks, Hezbollah, Hamas. So it remains to be seen what they might do, but Israel has demonstrated it has serious capabilities to respond if it needs to.
Well, speaking of that April attack, how much of an escalation is this since that drone attack? Do you think this takes the conflict to a new level?
Yeah, it's hard to tell because I think things have dramatically escalated tension-wise in the Middle East since October 7th. Over time, we've sort of seen this drumbeat of tensions and escalation. And I think it's already reached a high point, and I think it reached an even higher point when Israel announced that it was moving into Lebanon to take out Hezbollah and to defend its residents in the north. And, Iran has launched an attack before, so this, again, I think further sort of normalizes this happening. And I think it's a serious escalation in the region. We don't know how much more of an escalation it's going to be. It will depend on a variety of factors. It will depend on the U.S. It will depend on how Israel responds. But for sure, I think tensions are at such a high point in the region already.
Yeah, and foreign policy is rarely a key issue during U.S. presidential elections. Do you think this growing conflict in the Middle East could have a bigger role than normal this time around?
I do think foreign policy matters in this election more than usual. I mean, for most American voters, domestic concerns, the border, the economy, those are definitely top of mind, I think, for most voters. But in this election, we are seeing foreign policy play something of a key role as we deal with the wars, very big wars happening right now in the Middle East and in Ukraine. For Democrats, in the Israel conflict has sort of fractured them. I think a lot of young voters, progressives, Democrats are really concerned about the high toll, the high death toll in Gaza for the Palestinian people. So there are people who are going to protest vote Vice President Harris over that. And also, I think Ukraine matters a bit in this too on the Republican side because uh, Republicans have also fractured a little bit on whether they should continue to support Ukraine. We've seen Trump talk about how he wants to end that war before he even takes office, and a lot of far right Republicans oppose further Ukraine support. So it definitely matters a bit more than I would say in past elections. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Brad Dress, thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
That's today's Daily Debrief. I'm Bianca Facchinei. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.